So good afternoon, student. So today let us discuss about the interrelationship between disaster and the development. In the last class itself, we have started with if there is any development is occurring, this is indirectly this development will leads to some disaster. Okay, or in other words, we can say this development will aid for disaster. So all the types of development what we are doing in with respect to our technology issue will have some adverse effect, and that will try to enhance your disaster. And last class we have seen various factors affecting we were seeing, and we have dealt till embankment, and today we have to see about change in land use. So each and every land is for a particular purpose, and if you try to change it for some other use, then that will leads to a problem when there is some disaster. I think this we might have seen a lot. Okay, marshland and all, we are not supposed to construct building. So if you construct building in marshland, if there is any flood, the land beneath your building will be unable to withstand the load, because it is not as solid as the land which is being allotted for construction. Okay, so what the government has to do is, government has to clearly identify the lands, each and every land for what purpose, and you have to use it in accordingly, so that during any disaster you will not face any problem. Okay, so like earthquake or flood, at that time if you have wrongly used the place, but what to do, in our country we use like such, we do mistakes, like such mistakes we do. 80% of the engineering colleges are in the places of lake. Okay, so when flood comes, normally it will get affected. Okay, so that is what they mean to say changes in land use. So one particular land is being specified for that particular application, and if you change it, that may leads to an impact when disaster is occurring. Okay, so today let us discuss about change in land use. Then climate change adoption. There is some change in climate which is taking place. Due to this also there is so many disasters occurring. Okay, then we will see what is called as IPCC and its scenario. Till that, let us discuss today. Next class we will discuss about scenarios in context of India, so that we will discuss tomorrow. So till this we will try to discuss today. So let me start the first. So factor affecting change in land use and risk management. When you see a disaster risk is nothing but it is a function of hazard. Hazard is nothing but the reason that is maybe natural. Okay, and the exposure, this exposure is due to how it has been, whether it is increasing or decreasing the effect of disaster. And okay, vulnerability is if you are unknowingly you are there, and if this disaster is occurring, then disaster is not able to take care, only the reason is your unknown thing. Okay, so on the whole, if you put together, disaster risk is a function of these three. So to reduce disaster risk, it is too important to reduce the level of variability. All this we might have studied from last, and to keep exposure as far away from the hazard, which means you are not supposed to go and sit near hazard. That is what we mean to say. Which is nothing but, see, if this land you are not supposed to build, this is marshland. So in that marshland, if you are not building, then even earthquake if come, you have not builded in that marshland, so your building will not get collapsed. That is what we call it as exposure. So to keep exposure as far away from hazard, so you should not go near coastal. Near coastal you are not supposed to build. So if you are not building any houses near coastal, what will happen? Even if flood comes, or even if any tsunami is coming, it will not get affected. So that is what we mean to say keep exposure as far as away from your hazards as possible by reallocating the population and the property. Okay, so even though if you have some people settling near like marshland or near like your sea, then you should reallocate them so that the exposure to the hazard gets reduced. So if the exposure to the hazard get reduced, obviously the damage will be less. The conceptual framework of element considering with possibility to minimize your vulnerability and disaster risk throughout the society to avoid the adverse impact of hazard within the broad context of sustainable development. So when you say as a development, then what you have to do is we have to reduce two things which you have to reduce. Hazard I cannot reduce anything. Say risk in your equation given below, disaster risk I cannot do anything with respect to hazard. Okay, only thing what I can do is I can move away from the hazard, and I should have enough knowledge so that I will not get affected. So that too is in on my hand. So that is what they say, reduce the exposure. That is, we know that if tsunami is coming, then it is going to hit the coastal area, well known. But even if you go and sit there, then it is an headache, so you will get more disturbed. So you can come from there. That is what they call it as exposure. And if the government just say come out of it, they will not come. You have to do some arrangement for them to move from that location to another location. Okay, then growing exposure and delay in reducing vulnerability results in increased number of natural disaster and greater level of loss. So in this diagram, when you see, this is about the exposure graph, this is about the hazard. So when this exposure is more, obviously damage to disaster will be more. Similarly, if this resistance against your hazard is also more closer to hazard, then you will have a damage. So now what you have to do, this you have to reduce, or the diameter of this circle has to be reduced, and this circle has to be moved away from this particular thing. So obviously for the hazard, the damage will be less. Okay, so this is what we mean to say, try to move this circle away from hazard. That is what we say exposure. So don't expose more people towards hazard. Okay, so we are moving away, and this what you have to do is you have to reduce your circle, which is nothing but creating more awareness. So when you are creating more awareness, automatically this circle size will come down, or the radius of the circle will reduce. Automatically the disaster affected maximum intensity location will reduce. So to reduce the disaster risk, it is important to reduce the level of vulnerability and to keep exposure as far away from the hazard as possible by relocating the population and the property. So that is what we repeatedly say. You have to, when you say you are going to reduce your exposure, which is nothing but try to move them away from the region where we suspect that hazard is going to occur. Okay, we know the region where and all you will get hazard. Okay, when you build inside a lake, when you build a land in marshland, all such are when it is a low lying area. In that case and all, what will happen? Obviously, hello, yeah, tell me. Yeah, 1 minute. I think now it is visible. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let us continue. So what I was saying is, there is 3% we say. One we call it as hazard, and another person we call it as exposure to the hazard, and third one is vulnerability. So as these three are three circles, they are interrelated, and we say, and when we say how to overcome this, what we say is try to move your exposure away from the hazard. So don't make your people to reside in the place where the hazard is going to occur. Okay, when you take hilly areas, you are not to stay allowed to stay in a very deep slope, because if there is any landslide, that portion will be get removed. Similarly, you are not supposed to build near dams, you are not supposed to build near lakes, build in the marshlands. All that thing will come under exposure. So avoid the exposure. So try to move this circle away. And this vulnerability is nothing but when it is your knowledge, so teach them how to behave, all such things. So automatically this circle dia has to be reduced. So when you do this too, automatically the damage due to the hazard will try to come down. Okay, and land use is characterized by the arrangement activities and the input people undertaken in a certain land cover, types of produce change and maintain it. Okay, see, if there is unclaimed land and all, you are not supposed to allow the people to go and settle, or you are not supposed to make the people to go and settle in forest. So what they will do, they will go on constantly cutting the trees and try to build. When the trees are cut, automatically we know what will happen. When you go for deforestation, that leads to so many issues. Okay, so that is what we mean to say land use. So land use, then if this is going wrong, then it is with respect to government. So they have to do such arrangement that they have to put restriction where and all they can do. So when you go for approving and all, they have to be very strict so that you can try to reduce your disaster. So now let us go for zoning. So when a city is going to be developed, for example, you take Madras, or if you take Madurai or some other cities, you say, when you start developing a city, there are some well planned cities in in India, like Pune, Visakhapatnam and all that are well planned. And even in the well planned also there are some issues. Okay, now first let us start with zoning. Is a term used to designate permitted use of certain parcel of land by local governments. Generally in urban areas, zoning will be divided 5 major categories: residential, mixed residential bar commercial, then industrial, then special. Special is like putting a power plant, putting a sport complex, airport, shopping mall, etc. See, you cannot go and put airport at any location, because nearby surrounding buildings should not be tall, or even your second floor is not will be allowed in case where you are putting airports. Similarly, when you put a power plant, there is always a pollution, cost for pollution is there, so you have to take care. Then sports complex, this sports complex has to be put where the students will come for the sports. See, I cannot put the sports complex outside Chengalpattu, and I cannot ask them to come there. Okay, and shopping mall will be placed inside the city. So that is what they say. So you have to keep them aligned such that this and this place of parcel of land is for this particular application alone. So residential, it should be in a proper place that soil is very hard. Where the soil is hard, you can go for residential, because even earthquake comes, then there will be a restrict so that the building can be withstand. Okay, that land should not be a loose land. If the land is very loose, automatically that will leads to earthquake. Then mixed residential and commercial. See, I cannot keep a commercial always away from residential, because some are required for the residents. So mixed residential and commercial, so that we call it as the proper city, or it is like city, outside city. Then comes your commercial where you are going to set up all industries. Then special is like power plant, where the coal is there only I can put a coal power plant, whereas the dam, there only I can put power plant there. I cannot bring that to inside the city and all. And even there are some research is going on smart grid. Okay, so they try to decentralize the generation power to us to reduce the loss. Okay, but in general, with respect to disaster management, you are going to divide the land. Okay, so this is a diagram of Gawati. It is in Assam. It was being developed, and they have divided the entire land for each and every purpose. Okay, wherever you see yellow in color, it is for residential, and wherever you see a place where with white color, it is for commercial. Okay, then commercial, wholesale and warehouse, that cannot be kept outside. When you say warehouse, it should be kept inside the place. Okay, then industry, you can see pink colors which is slightly outward. Then your public or semi-public, which is in red color. So these are the way in which you have to isolate depending upon the land type. Okay, if the land is suitable for that, then you have to keep that particular way. So this is just an example we have shown. The need of land use assessment. So this is from the government side. Assessment they have to do. They have to go for assessment and they have to verify it. Okay, so land use information can be used to develop solution for natural resource management issue such as salient and water quality. I think you might have heard this also. When you last 2 years back, when this flood comes, a lady collector from Tambram, they have taken the plan or 30 years back plan. Okay, that is what we say here. Assessment. Every 5 years or 10 years they do assessment. They will try to identify whether what is being told in previous is followed or not. Okay, so based upon that they will draw the graph and the layout and keep it. So whenever you take that assessment paper, you can see whether everything is going in proper direction or not. Okay, so more recent significant effect of land use includes urban, then soil erosion, soil degradation, sanitation, and see, if the groundwater is good, then you can allow it for residents. If the groundwater is so worst, I cannot allow it for residents, rather I can allow it for industry. Okay, where the industry already they are going to drain the water and they are going to give the land use bar land cover pattern of a region is outcome of natural and socio-economic factor. So natural and economic factor we have to consider. I cannot bring all the needs too far away from the place where it is been, so it has to be kept close. So what we do is we not separate everything. You can see in this graph everything is placed equally inside the city. So green is there, red is there, yellow is there, pink is there, everything is packed, because only if you do that, then the transport and other issues will not be there. If you are separating, then you will have transport issues and all. The information about land use changes is necessary to update land cover map. So this is what I told, this they will update, so they will go on upgrading what is the change which is happening. So if you want to see something is going wrong, then go back to 30 years map, try to bring it, try to see what is the deviation, whether this deviation is allowed or it is beyond the limit of the deviation permit. Then what we will do, we will destroy. That is not been done in Mudichur. A very very tall buildings and all is being destroyed because everything was constructed over a place where the water to drain. Okay, if the water starts from Pallava, there is a river. Okay, from there the water, if it is drained, it has to drain, and that has to crosses this region of near the Tambram, and that is been occupied by the people. So that is why what they did, they removed, so that in order to drain the water, otherwise draining of the water itself will become tedious. Okay, so this is the need for land use assessment. Urban areas are changing due to various human activity, and I cannot even, you can even ask why you are changing the map, sir, why can't you keep the map which is there for 30 years back? But the reason is population, increase in population, so there will be a more development taking place. I cannot stop, because if you are not allowing the population to increase in a region, then you cannot increase the economy. It is related to each other. Only if the population, see, even now after corona, if everybody is working from home itself, what will happen is the land rate of Chennai and all will come down. There will be no person to buy the land. If there is no person to buy the land, the real estate will come down. If the real estate comes down, automatically it will affect all others. So that is what we mean to say. You cannot just say nowadays, okay, we have decided from tomorrow no need to increase population in Chennai. Like that we cannot say. Again, even now after lockdown, if all IT companies has to open, only if the IT company opens, what will happen? There will be need for water. So water lorries, fellows will get amount and their economy will come up. All sanitation like housekeeping has to come. Now all are there made to quit the job. Okay, so then electric power and all other such things, so again they have to come back. So that is what we mean to say. We cannot just say okay, you have 30 years before graph, why you are allowing the more and more building. So like that we cannot say, but care should be taken that you are not blocking the path for water to flow and all. So you have to build such that excess water has to move smoothly without affecting you. So this was, now I have told that we will see a case study where Visakhapatnam. So Visakhapatnam in 1998 and Visakhapatnam in 2010. So at the time they started with very small. So airport was very less. So you can see some portions are reduced and some portion has increased. See, beach sand region was 0.44, which has become 0.41, so not much change. Then this green build up land was 15%, now the build up land was 27.71%, so that the population has increased now. That is what we going to observe. Then forest area, then arbor, then industrial area, plantation, and you should not come down with the forest area and all. So forest area and all you have to try to maintain, and they have even increased. See here, it was 6.48, now it was 8.32 forest area. Like that, you have to take care such that you have to always keep in mind that some part should not be disturbed. If that is disturbed, then obviously that may leads to some disasters. See, forest area, if you try to reduce, then automatically your climate change will take place. That is what we will see next. Okay, so this was a case study with Visakhapatnam. Then in tabular column we have given, see, so that you can understand. So airport, it was 6.78 square kilometer. Okay, it was around only 1.0% of total area of Visakhapatnam. Then they have slightly increased from 6.78 to 7.41. This is to increase the capacity, like to have more planes to be parked and all, so that they have increased. So percentage also from 1.09 to 1.2. Then beach sand is 2.74, which has come to 2.56, which means the land near the beach you have builded some residence. That is what we mean to say. Beach sand is reducing means you are moving towards beach. So this is not supposed to be there. Okay, that is why in negative we have put in. First one we have put in positive because that is not going to affect anything, but this, when it reduce, then there is some problem. Then build up land was 95 to 145, it has went. Then forest area, you can see from 173 it has come down to 165, and this is not much change. Okay, so around 9%. So if you are allowing like this, at one point of time, if this is increased beyond a particular limit, then there is a issue. Okay, then you have to take care, then there is a chance for disaster to occur. Okay, problem faced are the most serious threat observed in occupation of hill slopes so I think Vizag, you all know that it is somewhat hilly areas are there. Even airport is constructed where with the 3 side hill and 1 side opening. So what happened is, since increase in population, they started moving towards hilly slopes. So this may even have a problem of, like, whenever there is heavy rain, the water has to flow, so natural draining becomes problem. So that will remove your agriculture as well as your stability. Then the possibility impact include depletion of groundwater, waterlogging. So waterlogging is the path of water is being stopped by some building. So what will happen? Instead of water flowing towards sea, water will stagnate there. So you are not supposed to make the water to stagnate. You are supposed to allow the water to go. Okay. Gradually collapse of hill slopes, resulting loss of human life and property. If this continues, the natural landscape, which is considered as the natural land of your Visakhapatnam, will be loose. So okay, so you have to take care of beauty of the land, so that you are not supposed to use it. So that is what been told, and these are the problem faced in Vizag. So recommendation is the decrease in vegetation cover and forest cover may be aspect to serious concern, and the planners and policy makers need to make necessary step for conserving the forest cover. So you have to decrease in forest should not be there. So, and decrease in vegetation also should not be there. You have to grow your foods as well as your forest you have to maintain. The beach and the coastal erosion by man-made reason should be closely monitored, and necessary scientific step. Scientific step is what we have seen in previous classes, constructing a brick-like structure and throwing in water, so that to reduce the speed of your ocean waves. Okay, so that is what they say. So if to avoid this coastal erosion, you have to go for scientific steps to be taken to stop the beach corrosion, to avoid further environmental complications. Okay, in order to prevent inappropriate construction of buildings, the building code should be strictly implemented. That is what I have previously told. There is some rules and regulation for constructing the houses. like you have to put a basement, such a height of basement, then followed by lintel, then followed by ceiling. So all that thing you have to do it in a way as been prescribed, and it has to be monitored. Then only you can avoid your problem when there is any disaster. Addressing the requirement after the flood has, then there should be a proper land use control and settlement policies in the state. Degradation of environment should not be there. Disaster and the poverty from various cycles, and cycle can be overcome only when careful environment management planning and integrating with the disaster manage and poverty. All such things has to be taken care. There should be a proper land use control. This is what we finally say. There should be a proper land use control and the settlement policy in that particular state that we have to follow. Okay. Then comes your second topic, which is climate change adaptation. So climate change has been observed through high temperature, changing in precipitation and runoff pattern. I will say what is high temperature. High temperature is due to emission of all such thing. Then there is so many dust in the atmosphere, and if rain, then all that dust is being precipitated on the surface, that will try to spoil the nature of the soil. See, this due to this, how this high temperature is occurring. High temperature because of pollution. You are polluting. So by burning fossil fuels or like diesel, petrol, all such things will lead to increase in temperature, and this not only increase in temperature, that will emit some gases, and this gases will be surrounding in the atmosphere, and if any rain is there, all that gas is being brought down. It is being brought to where? It is being brought to the soil. So once this is got precipitation, then the soil will lose its property. So that is what they say. And the final one, runoff pattern, is nothing but the water is flowing in a place where it is not supposed to run. Okay. So if there is a canal, only in canal it has to run. And if the canal is not properly maintained, what will happen? The water will come out of the canal and try to run in a place where it should not run. And extreme weather, if it is hot, very hot, if it is cold, very cold, leading to increasing incidence of weather induced disaster. So in many countries it is happening of this region, such as flood, drought, wildfire. Wildfire is nothing but if the temperature is going on increasing in forest, there will be some fire. That is not occurring in India, but like US countries, they have this wildfire. Then strong wind and heat and cold wave. Heat wave we will feel, and cold wave is place where in foreign countries they feel this cold waves. Okay. With the climate change contribution to increase in disaster risk management become a vital and urgent component of any climate change adoption program. As a part of climate change adoption policies and investment, countries need to focus on reducing their variability and planning for measures to mitigate natural disaster risk. This is what they say. On this day, only this number car has to travel, and so that they are trying to avoid the number of cars and vehicles on road. If the cars and vehicles are reduced, then automatically your pollution will come down. So this is a way by which they try to reduce the pollution. Once the pollution is reduced, I think two problems will be overcome. One is increase in temperature, and another one is your precipitation when there is any rain or such things is happening. Now, globally, climate change results from growing greenhouse gases emission and is expected to lead to raising the temperature and change in rainfall pattern. And this is, I think we all know what is the change in rainfall pattern is. See, you are continuously increasing the temperature. How you are increasing the temperature? You are using vehicles, so that will increase the temperature. And if the temperature increases, what happens is air will move up. So this air, when it moves up, air from sea will try to come to land, and sea starts to get eaten up. Once this sea gets eaten up, more and more water will get evaporated, and this more and more evaporated water will form all cyclones. Okay, so cyclones are because of increase in temperature. So that is what they say here, leads to rise in temperature and changing rainfall pattern. There is that season you should not have any rainfall. but due to increase in temperature you have rainfall in that particular period of time, and this will affect your agriculture and all such things. The effect may vary by sub-region and localities, but in general the following may be expected to take place. Increase in temperature and decrease in mean precipitation leads to increase in frequency and severity of drought and heat waves. Increasing warm, this is what I told, increasingly warm ocean surface temperature generate more stronger hurricanes or cyclone, as well as flood in nearby areas. So the hurricanes is usually we say in US countries, here we call it as like cyclones. Severe drought leads to increase in forest fire. See, when everything gets dried up and trees doesn't get water, so all the leaves will fall, automatically tree will get dried. Once if two tree which is very dry, when they come in contact it will try to catch up fire. Generate greater intensity of wind and rain causes severe flood, and it will even leads to landslides. Okay, so now we will see it starts from a disaster risk management, risk assessment, risk specification and mitigation, investment, all that thing you have to do. So that will be done by the institutional and technical measures supporting management. See how this can be done. So when you want to do this disaster risk management, then persons are involved. You have to go and take data, you have to go and do all such things. So for that you need institutional and technical measures supporting management for weather induced risk and all such things. Then there is a climate change agenda. You have to put an agenda and say how the climate is changing. Then climate change mitigation, for change in climate what you are going to do. So what you are going to do is only going to decide your risk management. So this is what we call it as it is a cycle. So developing and strengthening an institutional and legislative disaster risk management framework, that is first thing which you need. So you should have an institutional where you have to come and study, do analysis, take report, like using MATLAB you have to predict if this was the condition before 5 years, now what is the condition and how the condition is going to change. So there is some research activities should be taken place. So that is the first thing, developing and strengthening the institutional framework. Okay, then clarify the roles and the responsibility of local and national governmental bodies in risk reduction. So you have to sit and find which region there is a chance for disaster and all, then you have to give it to government and say how to overcome this. Okay, so there is a role for the responsibility of local and the national government. Then before undertaking any concrete step, however, completing the hazard risk assessment and corresponding hazard map is recommended. So first you say you have to set up institution. Based upon the institution you are going to declare to government, then government is going to take action. Before taking action, I should once check and confirm the assessment is correctly made, so or completely made. So completing hazard risk assessment, that has to be taken, then only you have to move. Then hazard specifying investment can reduce the risk. Then once you identified, then you will go for some alternate methods, so that alternate methods will try to reduce your disaster. So that is what they say, hazard specifying investment can reduce the risk of hydrometeorological hazards and increase adaptive capacity. So that is what they say. The another important adaptive measure is to strengthen the technical capacity of the emergency responders. So you have to go and teach them. See, you are not going to sit in a place, do all research, publish papers, then publish papers given to government, then government will take action. All that is okay, but the final end person who is been prone for disaster has to be taught clearly what he has to do. Okay, the development institution and the credit markets are ready to finance losses, providing that adequate adaptive measure and take in advance to minimize the need to be insured. Then pooled risk approaches bringing all to one particular place and teaching them. So that is called pooled risk approach. capital market mechanism, insurance and credit investment. So now a case study. So in foreign country they have invested and now they are little bit free. Okay, you can see here in 1993 a flood has cost around 100 million US dollars and damaged and infected. In 1997 they have made some rearrangement and all, and from 100 US dollars they have brought it to, see this is 100 million US dollars as they have brought to 3.5, and now into 2005 they have brought it to 1.3. So like that. So when you properly invest and try to do something, and during the disaster your expense will come down. That is the thing. You have to do it in advance so that during disaster the damage will come down. So once if you have invested and done properly, then during disaster the amount spent to overcome from the disaster will come down. So it has come down to 1.3 million. See where is 100 million and where is 1.3 million. Okay, so like that they have come down. So this was the photo which has been taken in 1993 where flood has destroyed to the greater extent. Then they have put some technical measures and all scientific measures has been taken. So it has reduced from 100 million to 3.5 million, and from 3.5 million it has brought to 1.3 millions. Okay, now let us move on to the third topic or the final topic of today's discussion. So that is Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, that we call it as IPCC. So IPCC is the leading international body for assessment of climate change. It was established in United Nations Environment Program, that we call it as UNEP, and the World Meteorological Organization WMO, to provide the world with a clear scientific view. This is nothing but like placing the geostationary satellite, and from the satellite they try to get the image and they will predict how the cyclone is moving, how the hurricane is moving, all that thing they will predict, and they will say in advance so that you can escape from the disaster. Okay, so that is the role of these organizations. So it was established by United Nations, so that is why we call it as UNEF, and the World Meteorological Organization WMO, to provide world with a clear scientific view on the current status of knowledge in climate change and its potential environment and socio-economic impact. The IPCC is a scientific body. It receives and accesses the most recent scientific, technical and socio-economic information proceed worldwide related to understanding the climate change. So every time your increase in temperature will be recorded worldwide, and they will put a chart and they will predict what will be in future climate change. Okay, it does not conduct any research nor does not monitor the climate data or parameters. It gets the data from their local and it tries to draw the graph. IPCC is an intergovernmental body. It is open to all member countries of United Nations and WMO. Currently 194 countries are the members of IPCC. Okay, so this is about IPCC. They may even ask in 2 mark what is IPCC, then you have to tell it is a intergovernmental panel on climate change. Then you have to tell it is been established by United Nations, and you have to say all the countries who are member of United Nations are member of this, and there are 194 countries who are currently member of this. Okay, then comes emission. What and all type of emission is there is carbon dioxide, which we call it as CO2, then methane, then nitrous oxide, hydrofluorocarbons. I think you all know from where all this comes. It is like coolant material which is being used for cooling purpose and all, like your refrigerator, air conditioner, and very big size refrigeration unit. All such will try to emit all these fellows. Nowadays research is made out and you are trying to use, and think you might have seen this SF6. It is used in circuit breakers, so that will leak and it will go to atmosphere. All these are emission, and all these are harmful. There are some person which are more harmful, like sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, then nitrogen oxide, and non-methane volatile organic components. Like inorganic, you have some organic also. So all this is going to make problem. Here they have drawn for some, this is CO2, they have drawn, CH4 is for methane, okay, and this is S followed by F, okay, this is SF6. So sulfur hexafluoride, one sulfur, you have 6F. so one or two structures is been drawn. You can even draw the structures for all other thing also, but all these are emitted and all these are the person who is going to increase the temperature, okay, all these person are going to increase the temperature. Now special report on emission scenario used in AR4 is just a register number. Main driving force of future emission is population, then economic development, energy intensity and demand. Since population is increasing, energy demand is also increasing. That is why we say triply you have a wide scope in future, because you all have to take care of how you are going to fulfill the energy demand. Then resource availability, then technology changes. See, when there is a technology changes also there are some problem is there. How to throw the e-waste, all the thing will come into picture. Propose for future energy system, then land use changes, different future developments like how to reduce your emission on various scenario. So now let us storyline of scenario. See, what and all leads to what and all. So starting from root, it will go to stem and it will go to leaf. So what has started is population, economy, technology, energy, land use and agriculture. So all this are the driving force. I repeat, increase in population, the economy of your people, the technology which you are following, the energy needs, then the land, what and all types of land is used for what, and then come agriculture. So all this are the driving force for this tree to grow. Once this tree has grown, due to all this there will be some effect, okay. Here we are showing the tree for explaining what and all bad thing is going to happen because of following this, okay. So A1, rapid economic growth, peak population mid 21st century, then declining, rapid introduction of new or more efficient technology, subsequent reduction of regional difference in per capita income. Then A2 is regional solution to environmental and social equality issues. Then continuously rising world population, slow per capita income growth, technology development. This is positive side we told, this is with respect to negative side we have told. Then B1, rapid change in economic structure, peak population mid in 21st century, then decline they are saying is after 21st century. I think nowadays itself youth in world is coming down, okay. In India it's there, but in foreign countries youth are coming down, okay. That is what they say, after declining it is going to decline. Reduction in intensity of demand for material, introduction of clean and resource effect technology, global solution to environment and social equality issues. Intermediate economic development, which means the economic is not equally developed, moderate population growth, less rapid and more diverse technology, then regional solution to the environment and social equality issues. Then fossil fuel initiatives, how we are going to use your fossil fuel. Obviously it has to come down, balance emphasis on all energy resources. So other than fossil fuels you have to go with other type of energy resources. The non-fossil fuel intensive is nothing but renewable like solar, wind and all such things, okay. So emission leads to CO2 will leads to all type of uncertainties. So concentration of the CO2 take by land, ocean and atmosphere, that is temperature rise. So take up is nothing but due to the CO2 land and ocean temperature increases. This increase will change the climate model. So place where there should not be rain, there will be rain. The place where they have to receive rain will not be there, and there will be flood, all such things. So that is what they say, uptaken by lands, ocean and atmosphere, what, the CO2 concentration, that leads to what, climate change. That climate change scenario you have to study and you have to do something, so that you have to properly see this. this is not happening, and you are trying to adjust your climate change. So climate change depends upon only this, and so by constantly monitoring you have to make such that this does not leads to increase in climate module. So this is with respect to today's class. So with this we will stop today. Now you have to tell me whether you have any doubts. I think this subject, when you see, it is more theory, so it is